Welcome everyone for this amazing 2 hours webinar on networking guidelines. We're very glad that all of you have joined in. Before we actually take the session ahead, I request our backend team to kindly play the ICI motto.
Yaesha supteshu jagrati Yaesha supteshu jagrati Kamam 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 kamurusho Purusho nirvimanaha nirvimanaha Tadeva shukram tada brahma tada brahma Tadevamritamuchyate Tasmin lokaha shataha Sarve tadunatyati kaschan Etadvaita 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 etadvaita
Thank you so much. I think one of the most needed topic that is the networking guidelines, and very glad and thankful to WIRC to plan this session. I, Rudesh Pankhania, the Regional Council Member of WIRC, welcome all of you for attending this amazing webinar on networking guidelines, which is actually the talk of the town, the talk of all chartered accountant firms, and the need of the hour. We've got two amazing faculties today taking up the session, CA Atul Bheda sir and CA Amit Patel sir, who's going to join Amit sir in the second half. So once Atul sir is here, we can start.
Yeah.
Sure. So talking about our first speaker, everyone, Atul Bheda sir. Atul Bheda sir is a chartered accountant, of course, a BCom, an LLB, a DISA qualified as well. He's into practice since more than 36 years in all the areas of tax, audits, computer software development, finance, corporate laws, and other professional assignments. He's also done a diploma in genealogy from the Mumbai University. He's a person with strong interpersonal skills, ability to get along with people. He's very strong on values and ethics. Talking about his professional and social bodies journey, he's a non-executive director appointed by Government of India at Yes Bank from March 20 to July 22. In fact, in spite of pandemic, he made the turnaround happen in the Yes Bank. He's been a member of Central Council of ICI for the period 2007 to 2013, also a chairman of WRC of ICI for the year 2001. A member of various managing committees, core group member of Chamber of Tax Consultants and the Bombay Chartered Accountants Society as well. He's delivered lectures and contributed papers in India as well as abroad. He's chairman of various committees of ICI as well, a founder director of XBRL Limited, chairman of Jane's Chartered Accountants Federation, that is the JCF, visiting faculty at the Indian Education Society Management College. In fact, he's a regularly appearing on CNBC Awaaz, answering the online queries of viewers on personal taxation. President of various trustees, he's a trustee and president of the trust running Shishwan School. And we're very glad, Atul sir, for joining in, and thank you for accepting our invitation. Without taking much time, requesting Atul sir to take over. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Rudesh. I hope I am audible as well as I'm able to project the things properly. My screen is visible. Am I right, Rudesh? Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So, very good evening, all of you. This is something very dear topic for me, because I'm speaking on this right from the time when this networking thing started, and at times involved in very detailed discussion at the council in the formation stage, or maybe when the things were changing. You are part of that, and you really feel very happy about the things that yes, there is some progress which is regularly happening. Also, the institute takes very regular feedback on that, and the result is this guidelines of networking of Indian CA firms 2021. So what we'll be doing today, major 5 areas we'll be discussing today. How exactly what it is, how it is. The 5 areas which I intend to take up is the current trends in the practice, the new types of networkings, the silent features of this networking alliance network, the different names which are given, and then what are the characteristics of these different models which the institute has decided or the institute has already come out with, and then the modalities of working and the framework of the internal bylaws of different models, because this becomes very, very important as there is something which this internal bylaws would be really ruling whole of this networking. So just first, if I can, go to, I would say the state of practice, a quick facts, that is the current trend and what is the state of facts. Like if you see, from 2006 onwards, maybe somewhere up till 2011-12, the total number of firms which was stagnant maybe for a few years, 5, 6, 7 years, and then gradually it has started rising up till 2020. And if we see how our practicing chartered accountants are there, if you see the proprietorship and partnership, it is always the partnerships are really very, very small in numbers. And if I see the next table, which is number of partners and the firms. So 2 partners firm is around 13,200, 3 to 10 is 11,700, and above 10 is just 332. So this is something, in total of say 90,000 odd firms, we just have some 332 who have more than 10 partners. So more than 50 are just 9. And from this, what we can see is there are huge number of members who are either proprietors or they are in a very, very small firms, that is 2 partner firm. And few of the firms are maybe 3 to 10, and more than 10, it is really very, very small in numbers. And what is the reason? Why this is happening? So this is what we have been discussing at the council at the various levels. So I'll just take you to what is the current trend in the practice. So what we have observed, and I'm sure each one of you will agree, the facts which I'll be presenting right now. That is the practice in individual name. There are many chartered accountants who are practice in the individual name, or the practice as a sole proprietor firm, or practice as a partnership. Of late, the LLPs have also started, and very few mergers of 2 or more firms are happening, and networking firms are least, absolutely as good as nothing. Majority CA firms, as we have seen, are small-sized CA firms. The large number of firms have confined practice to audit and taxation. This is the traditional area of our large numbers of members, and this from the institute data we can get. Also, my personal experience being going all across the country, talking to smaller areas, tier 2, tier 3 cities, and you see majority, super majority of our practicing units are into audit and taxation. And today in the major metro cities, you see there are chartered accountant firms who have not confined themselves to tax and audit, and they have excelled like anything. But very unfortunately, in spite of many efforts by the institute, by various speakers, trying to tell people that you please see that how the traditional area of practice should be out, but somewhere we are not able to break the ice. There could be various reasons for that. We can have a separate session for that, and how we can convert, how we can do. Maybe sometime later we can discuss. Next, many firms have audit allotted through ICI, PDC, empanelment process. This is one more observation at a personal level that when we talk to people, and many of the firms, they come together not because they want to share the huge professional opportunities which are available other than this empanelment audits. There are various opportunities, but majority of the firms in many cities, I would say, have come together only for this empanelment process. There are genuine firms, there are people who are really working, but the numbers is not that huge. Even what we saw, the numbers of partnership from 2 to 10. If I want to go into a greater detail, we don't have a direct statistics, but this is my assumption that from this also the majority of the firms would be for the allotment empanelment process. And therefore, if you see, the genuine partnerships are very few in numbers compared to my overall numbers of 90,000. The members have attachment with their firm name and do not want to go for mergers or network due to fear of loss of identity. This is one more very important thing, that each one of us is attached to our name. The younger generation is changing, but the senior generation still wants that my name should be there. I should be there as the name of the firm. My name should be there. I don't know why it has to be like that, but this particular mindset requires to be a great changes which are required. Also, what we have seen and what I've observed is, when the client grows bigger, they generally tend to switch over to a larger firm of the chartered accountants, of the professionals. So this again is a very regular experience. When you talk to people and they say, we have nurtured our clients for a number of years, and now he has grown, and as soon as he has started growing, he wants to grow more, and he feels that we are not capable of giving these services, and therefore they are moving to a bigger firm, and we are losing that opportunity to grow along with our clients. And why we are missing this opportunity? Because we are not growing the way our clients want. We want to have our own traditional way of functioning. Businesses do not function like that, and therefore this is a very common experience that when client grows bigger, they tend to switch over to larger firms. Also, it has been noticed that firms that have ventured into newer areas of practice have found great success. Not success, but great success. And I know they are in numbers, they will be probably few hundreds. But yes,
Sir,
yeah.
sir, PPT share करो कि
I think this is not shared.
नहीं sir.
Oh, sorry. I thought it is already shared. So I'll just again share it again. Just give me a moment. I thought it is sharing. That's why I asked in that whether my PPT is shared or not.
सर अभी आ गया सर.
अभी आया है?
स्लाइड नंबर, हाँ सर, अभी स्लाइड शो करिए सर.
ओके, ठीक है. अभी दिख रहा है?
हाँ सर, दिख रहा है. फर्स्ट स्लाइड है आपको.
हाँ, ठीक है. अभी so we were into this slide. This slide is starting with when the client grows bigger. Is this the slide on the screen?
Sir, yes sir.
Okay.
Visual, sir.
Fine. Sorry, I thought the screen is already shared, because in front of me at least I am seeing that the screen is there. So you should have told me in beginning that screen is not shared. Sorry, it is my mistake. Okay. So the next is that firms that have ventured into newer areas of practice have found the success, and this they are hugely successful. Though as I said, there are few hundreds, but the success is marvelous. So my here suggestion would be that institute is trying to give various options. Today we'll see how these options are there. But our final goal should be how do we grow more and see that there could be few 50,000 few 50 or 100 firms that could be an international firm, which is possible. So let us see how we can make it. And what we have also seen that firms that have developed expertise or specialization have prospered like anything. Also the firms have a larger structure, have by and large scaled up. So when you have a larger structure, you are bound to succeed. It is possible that for initial 1 or 2 years, there could be some issues. But in long run, we have seen that, whenever this larger structure is there, this larger structure always helps to see that you grow exponentially. And this is what, again, I have seen in the country across all the regions, all big cities, where once the consolidation happens, once the merger happens, the growth automatically comes. And I'm not trying to tell you that growth will come only through the empanelment practice. Your other areas are so big that probably you may not be, in few years, you may not be interested in empanel practice. That is the advantage when you have a larger structure. And institute is trying to, help us to how to, go towards these larger structures. So maybe I don't want to enter into partnership, or I don't want to merge immediately. And therefore, intermediary, we had provisions of, networking. So if I see the journey of this networking, so ICI issued the networking guidelines for the first time in the year 2005. Again, same was revised by the council somewhere in 2011. And these guidelines did not fetch the expected level of results, and only close to some 100 networks could be registered with ICI. And therefore, there was a continuous thought process at the council that what are the hurdles? Why this networking is not growing? Why people are not accepting this? And after a lot of outreach programs, the institute, the members, the council members, the regional council members, they went across the country trying to find out that what could be the reason that why this networking is not working. And after that, they had rounds and rounds of meetings. And in 2021, they were able to, try to, have the new guidelines. So what were these impediments? Why this was not happening? So the network under Indian CA firm is not recognized by the appointing authority. So this was one of the major reason cause that if you have network but no registering authority, appointing authorities had any provision where they would empanel this particular network. So that was one of the reasons. Second is that confusion as to under which legislation a network should be registered. So yes, institute was one of the body where which this was registered, but nowhere else this network was registered. One more very important impediment was the network cannot take up the assignment in its own name, because network was only to come together, and whatever work is being done, that cannot be executed by this network. Then one of the psychological thing which was there was that fear of being overshadowed by network and thereby loss of identity by individual firms. This was one more that if I come together as a network, 4 firms, 5 firms, and then my individual firm would be out and the network would be moved. That was a fear that was happening. So these were some major, causes for which the network was not going up, and therefore the institute, the council felt that you require some changes, and some new type of networking were thought of, and this new type of networking were given a great thought, and these were the new type of the networking, and they were named as alliance, networking, and lead firm. We will study each one of them. Lot of similarities are there, and there are some different characteristics also for each of this network. We will try and study this, and we'll try and understand what it is. One very important thing is, this is for the networking amongst the domestic CA firms only. So this is for the Indian CA firms. I'm told that for international networking, currently the groups are working, and very shortly the guidelines, the rules, regulations for the international network may also come in. So currently, whatever were the old network rules, they are all now gone. Everything is now being substituted as per the new guidelines. So first we talk about the alliance, because we said three. One is alliance, networking, and lead firm. So what is this alliance? So the different firms coming together to form an alliance with a new name of alliance and continuing to practice independently and can showcase as an alliance to the world. So that is similar to what we had earlier. We'll see what is that changes which have been brought in the new regime of this networking. Right. The next is the networking itself. So the different firms come together from the to form a network with new network name and practicing in the name of firms belonging to the network, subject to internal integration agreement. This is very important and major difference between the alliance and the networking. Your agreement, the integrated agreement is a major difference, and they can showcase their combined strength. This is same as you can show in the alliance also. Now the most important thing is the last one, and that is the lead firm. So what is this? So different firms come together to form a network with a new network name, and the practicing in the name of firms belonging to the network by the way of an internal agreements among the firm, one of the firm will be chosen as the lead firm. This lead firm will bid for the professional work on the basis of the combined strength and the resources of the network firm. I'll be giving examples of each one of this to make it very clear that what exactly the institute wants out of it. Just to say that here there will be lead firm, and the name of the lead firm would be there. It would be the similar name of the part of that whatever 4 or 5 firms are coming together, and everything will be done in the name of the lead firm. So this is something absolutely new which is coming up, and something absolutely different. So we'll just see the silent features of this alliance and network. So firms might need to have a detailed knowledge of other firms to make up their mind as to which firm they would like to go for alliance or networking, and therefore data of the firm will be made available in the SSP, that is self-service portal, for the members to view and to take an informed decision. So I may be wanting to have a network alliance, but I should have a very detailed knowledge of the firms who are coming together, and therefore institute is wanting to give a hand-holding exercise by having an access to this SSP and trying to understand, trying to know what are these firms or next. Any firm of chartered accountant can become part of any one alliance or any one network. If it intends to become part of one alliance, it cannot become the part of a network or vice versa. So, as a firm, I can have only one network. It is not possible that I'll be part of more than one network or alliance. Here, alliance network I'm using interchangeably. So I can be there only at one particular place, right? Next, the alliance network will be permitted as joint venture for specific assignment. So this is something different which is happening. Earlier, the alliances, networks, they were not allowed to execute any of the work in the name of alliance or network. Here, they say you can have a separate joint ventures for a specific assignment. So, in a network alliance, there are 4 or 5 or 6, and only 2 want to execute an assignment. So you have a joint venture for a specific assignment. Then the next is the documents such as deed, MOUs, forms can be signed by the managing partner of each of the member firms and need not be signed by all the partners. So this is one more very welcome change, that every time if there are five firms and maybe 25 partners, not necessary each time that 25 partners have to sign. You decide who is the managing partner, and maybe these 5 people can come and do all these formalities. Very importantly, only firms and LLP can become member firms in alliance network. Individual practitioners are not allowed to permit to be the part of alliance or the network. Now, what do we mean by this? The people who are practicing individual name. So you don't have a firm name. Even proprietors, if they are having a firm name, you are eligible. But as an individual, you are not eligible. So for having membership in alliance or network, compulsorily you have to have a proprietorship, partnership, LLP, whatever. But individuals in the individual name cannot become there. Next, every agreement, bylaws, MOU must be filed with ICAI. Now here ICAI is trying to have a control, trying to guide people that how network should run. So each and every agreement, MOU which comes to them would be part of their records of that particular network. Next slide. The legal status of the network or the alliance can be that of EOP as recognized by the tax law. Again, a very, very important fundamental change. Earlier, we did not have this option of EOP. Now, the option is given that I can be EOP as recognized by the tax laws. So we'll see further how this would be of a great utility for the network and how the networks would be promoted. The next point, the alliance network may open a bank account in its own name, obtain PAN number and GST registration. So everything is possible, whereby I can have my own PAN number, I can have my GST number. So it is just like a parallel entity which is doing the work which has to be done by a chartered accountant. Now, we'll just see how it could perform, because one very important negative thing is the alliance network can take up non-attached assignment on its own name if work is so assigned. So the attestation work, that's the audit work, will not be allowed to be taken over by this alliance or network. Any other work you can take in this particular alliance or network. You have a separate bank account, you have a separate, recognized as an EOP, you have a separate PAN number, you have a separate GST number, you have been separately registered with an ICAI. So whole new concept is being introduced here and trying to see that, okay, fine, you have your own independent identity as your firm. You also have a joint entity where you can come together and do the work, whatever you want. You have a separate bank account, your PAN number, GST number, tax, everything is there. So what the institute is trying to see is that whatever issues which were brought before them, they're trying to resolve this whatever issues which had come up. The next, also the network may prepare a common balance sheet and get same audited also. So it is as good as a new entity which you can do and which you can really help yourself in expanding your horizons. And naturally, once this networking are working properly, maybe the next step would be mergers and forming a firm across. And that is the idea. So these are all hand-holding exercises which the institute is trying to give, and having your own network would be for great utility. Also, if you see the last line of the slide, the Alliance network can have website of its own. I think that is something wonderful. No doubt you will be having the rules and regulations like we have for the website guidelines for firms. Similarly, there would be a website guidelines for the network also. But at least world at large can see that, okay, this is a network, this is an alliance, this is the strength, this is how this team is working. That would be really helping many small firms come together initially through this alliance or network and gradually merge and become the big firms. Now, what could be the name of this alliance? Right? Examples I will try and give you in next few slides where I'll give you the examples. But the principles of on what the name approval would be there is that the name of the alliance network should resemble name of the member firms or combination of acronyms. So this is first. Second, the alliance, the network should not bear the name of any god, goddess, deity, or which has no relationship with the name of the member firms. That is description. Description, if there is in the name, the descriptive names will not be allowed. The name with smack publicity will not be allowed. The names which resemble any existing firms or network will not be allowed. In case there is a brand name which is already registered, then it should be owned only by the Indian citizen who is resident in India. So these are the broad guidelines for the name approval. It is similar to our name approval for the firms. This is for the network and the alliance. Now we'll see the characteristics of different models. So we have seen up till now there are 3 models. We'll see there are around 8 or 9 parameters, and we'll try to compare on all the parameters what are these different characteristics which are there. Many of them would be very similar. Few of there are minor changes here and there. So we'll just see the characteristics of different models. So first is the name. Now here are the examples which have been taken. So first I go to alliance, then network, and then lead firm. So if I go to alliance, when 4 firms, A and company, B and company, C and company, and D and company come together to form an alliance, they may name their alliance at A, B, C, D. Right? In case they wish to use suffix, they will use the suffix and alliance to their common name to make it A, B, C, D and alliance. In all professional stationery, the member firms can mention that they are member firms of so and so alliance. Right? So this is for the alliance model. Now if I go to network model, more or less similar, very minor change is that I'll just go through that when 4 firms with A, B, C, and D come together, form a network, they may name their network as ABCD, same as alliance. In case they wish to use suffix, they will use suffix as and affiliates or network. So in the alliance, the suffix which was used was and alliance. Here the suffix which has to be used is and affiliates or network to their name. The common name to make it. So it could be A, B, C, D and affiliates, or ABCD network. In all, again, same in all professional stationery, the members firm can mention that they are member firms of so and so network, right? The new concept or the new thing which is there, that is the lead firm, which is a newer concept. Now here, how this has been done. So when 4 firms with A and company, B and company, C and company, D and company come together to form a network, they will suffix as and affiliates or networks to one of the firms selected by the constituent firms as the lead firm. So say for example, if A and company is chosen as the lead firm, then the name of the network will be A and company and affiliates. So the difference is, in network or alliance model, you have the combination of the names of all the 4 firms. Here, since you have internally decided that this will be A and company will be our lead firm, and therefore these affiliates would be called as A and company and affiliates. Again, the same thing in all professional stationaries, the member firms can mention that they are the member firms of so and so network, right? So this was the criteria on name and how these 3 different models, work on the names. The next is the registration part of it. So if we see the alliance model, the alliance model will be registered with ICI. ICI will allot the unique alliance registration number, ARN, like we have FRN. So this is ARN. In the network model, same thing, and they will allot NRN. And in the third one, that is the network lead firm model, the network will be registered with ICI, and ICI will allot a unique network registration number as NRN. Now, what I see is here is there are 2 NRN numbers. So one is for the network model and one is for the lead firm model. So the registration numbers would be different, right? Now we come to the empanelment. So all the firms in alliance can apply for the empanel separately as individual firm. This is again a very important change. Earlier, if one of the firm is applying, it was difficult. Now it is allowed. All firms belonging to the network can apply for empanelment separately as an individual firms. And the third is a lead firm model, where the lead firm is entitled to apply for empanelment in its own name, but by way of an internal agreement, it will be on behalf of entire network. When the lead firm applies for the empanelment, other constituent firms cannot apply. So this is a major change from the earlier thing, because you are gradually moving from alliance to network to a lead and then maybe to the merger. So when you are ready to apply for an empanelment in a lead firm's name, naturally you are giving away the right of your firm being and making an application for an allotment of or empanelment of your name. So gradually you are moving towards merger. So that is the criteria of mergers. Now I go to the next criteria. That is the practice. So in alliance model, the firm are free to carry on practice as an independent firms despite being constituents of the alliance. Alliance may direct the best practices to be followed by the individual constituents. So here it is slightly flexible. Alliance is slightly on a lower side. It is slightly the first step. Now, if I go to the network, then firms are bound by the internal integration agreement, and the practice as an independent firm subject to internal agreement, network's decision prevails upon the other firm. So slightly strict than the alliance. Alliance is little bit loose network. This network is little bit, a tight network sort of thing. And then if I go to the third part of it, and that is the firms, the lead model firm, the firms can have an internal agreement recognizing one of the firms as lead firm depending upon the specialization and expertise required for each assignment. Sorry, just a moment. Okay, sorry. The individual firms can carry on practice as an independent firms again, but for your various assignments, you can have a different agreements, the internal agreements. Now conflicts, this was again one issue which was there, that the conflicts exist. E.g., if one firm doesn't statutory of an entity, another firm in alliance cannot do the internal. It continues. Earlier also this was there, today also it is there, and this is there for all the models: alliance model, network model, lead firm model. So if there is a conflict, then your ethical standards come into play, and if one firm is statutory audit of the entity, another firm in the network cannot do the internal audit. This is again staying as it is. Characteristics. The next criteria. Since all the constituent are Indian CA firms, referral work and the sharing of fees, that is profit, is permitted. This is an excellent step which is being taken. Network model. Individual firms take up the professional work on their own, and the partner of the said firm gets signed the reports and document. Since all the constituents are Indian CA firms, referral work for sharing of fees, that is profit, is permitted, and the same is there in the alliance model and network model. In the lead firm model, individual firms take up the professional work on their own, and the partner of the said firm can sign the reports and document. And since all the constituents are the Indian CA firms, referral work for this sharing of fees is again permitted. So whenever a firm is doing some work, and if it has to share some of its fees, now it is very clearly permitted. Accountability. Again, it is not very different. Similar thing is there. So in case of delinquency occurs in a particular assignment, then the firms that have jointly executed the assignment will be accountable, and therefore it is like a joint audit which we are performing. And where in joint audit, the division of the work needs to be very, very well documented. Therefore, if at all there is a problem, there could be pinpoint that yes, this problem was because of this XYZ. So in case of same thing is there for network, same thing is there for the lead, that in case if there is joint execution, the division of the work needs to be well documented, and wherever there is a problem, that accountability will go to that particular firm who has executed that part of the work of the audit. The partner of the firm that gets appointment will sign the reports and the certificates, right? So who will sign? Here is there. Alliance shall have to submit to ICI copy of internal agreement signed by an authorized partner of all the constituents firm. You have seen this, right? The partner of the firm, same, he has to sign, and again the network has to submit the ICI copy of internal agreement. We have seen that all the agreements, MOUs will have to be submitted to the ICI. So this condition is there for all the three models, and all the three models, the partners have to sign it, and the certificates, whatever are there, they are as per the appointment. In the last lead, the partner of the lead firm will have to sign the reports, as it is the lead firm which will get the appointment. So here, the partner of the lead firm becomes accountable for that. Now, reconstitution. I think this reconstitution is very, very easy for all the three models, so that the institute does not want to restrict that एक बार फंस गए तो फंस गए, ऐसा नहीं है. अगर लगा कि फंस गए तो आप बहुत आसानी से इसमें से बाहर निकल सकते हैं. So firms are free to join and exit in alliance. Firms are bound by the network's internal integration agreement. Maybe if you feel that you require some sort of restrictions in your internal agreements, you can do that. Firms are bound by networks internal integration agreements. This is same as per network, same for the lead firm. And all these reconstitutions has to be registered with the ICAI. Exit or closure, more easier to quit the arrangement in the alliance model. If one or more firms quit the alliance, it will not deprive the remaining firms for doing the work they have already secured by virtue of alliance. Same for the network model. In the lead firm model, easy to quit the arrangement. If one or more firms quit the network, it will not deprive the remaining firms from doing the work they have already secured by the virtue of network. Only if this lead firm quits the network after having secured the professional work, then it will have to share the fees with the other constituents. The relevant forms, Form A, B, C. Form A is for the name approval, Form B is for the registration, and Form C is for the change in constitution. For alliance and network, it is same. For lead firm, the forms numbers have been just changed as AA, BB, CC, but the functions of all the forms are the same. Now we'll hurriedly go through the modalities of the working and the framework of internal bylaws. Because these are absolutely internal, they are broad guidelines which are there, not necessary, they are not mandatory, but Institute is trying to give you various modalities for the framework, how your internal bylaws, it is basically rules and regulations for each of this. So the modalities for the working and framework of internal bylaws of the alliance. So an alliance and arrangement made, including following. One is the administration of the alliance, dispute settlement procedures through arbitration and conciliation and assumption of liabilities, resource sharing arrangement. So these are the points which should be included, is as suggested in the bylaws. We should have this. Alliance may not be given professional assignment in their own names, but their combined strength may be recognized. Potential clients can assign non-attestation work in the name of alliance. While submitting a bid, individual member firms belonging to the alliance may be assessed in the terms of their own strength. All firms belonging to alliance can apply for empanelment separately as the individual. This standard on quality control is applicable for all the three types of the models. So in situation where the clients or empanelment appointing authority awards work based on the combined strength, a subsequent change in constitution of alliance will not debar the rest of the constituency firm from execution of the work. If alliance is unable to discharge the work because of one of the firms have left, it can always resign from the assignment. Alliance can register themselves as AOP as recognized under income tax laws. Alliance may form an AOP, hand open a bank account in their own name, obtain PAN number, GST number. Income received by AOP can be distributed as per MOU between entered amongst the member firms of alliance. IT return will have to be filed by AOP. AOPs can prepare common balance sheets and get it audited. So this is a broad framework of the alliance. A similar framework is there for the network. So networking arrangement may include appointment of managing committee, because this is slightly an advanced version. So you have a managing committee from amongst the managing partners, then minimum maximum numbers of members of managing committee, administration of network, contribution of membership fees to meet the cost of administration of the network, identifying a partner of any of the member firms of network to be responsible for the administration of the network, dispute settlement procedures through arbitration, conciliation, and assumptions of the liability, development of the training material for the members of the network. This is one of the difference, maybe here institute is trying to see that, you have a proper training material, you develop and maintain database of relevant different types of assignment, appointment of technical director to whom the references can be made, Now, this is something very, very important, nowadays when audits are there, you require this sort of, second opinion. I think this sort of things can help a lot. Development of software and tools for the use of member firms, sharing of resources. Globally, the network are not given work, but their combined strength is recognized. Potential clients can assign non-attestation work in the name of the network. All firms belonging to network can apply for empanelment separately as an individual firm. Again, SQC applicability. In a situation where the client or the empanelment awards work based on the combined strength, the subsequent change in constitution of network will not debar the rest of the constitution from the execution of the work. Same as we had in alliance. Network same can be registered as AOP, PAN number, GS number, IT return, audit, balance sheet, same as per alliance. Now the modalities of the working of framework of an internal bylaws for the network, which is with the lead firm. So the third type. Again, same as appointing of the managing committee from among the managing partner members of the network and terms and conditions. Minimum maximum number of managing committee, administration of the network, contribution fees, then who will be responsible for administration, dispute settlement. Again, this is similar to our networking about material, technical director, maintenance of data, software tools, sharing of resources. More or less, I think the same thing it is there as far as the global networks. Again, the constituent firms will be at liberty to choose different constituent firm as the lead firm to represent the network, depending upon the specialization and expertise required for the particular assignment. By way of an internal agreement amongst the firm, all the firms will be chosen as a lead firm. Only the lead firm can apply for the empanelment and not the other member firms. While submitting a bid, the lead firm belonging to the network may get credit points for the combined resources of whole of the network. The network firms may decide among themselves through agreement the strategy of execution of the professional work. They may distribute the work on the basis of the expertise possessed by each firm or basis of geographical location of the firms or any basis mutually acceptable by firm. They will also decide how the fees is to be distributed on the basis of quantum of the work, mandates, expenses. Now, if you see this particular point, I think this is absolutely the stepping stone for the mergers. Because when you come to so minutely, having your work is divided, your responsibility is divided, your expenses are divided, your income is divided, I think this is where you are going towards the merger because the understanding of all the partners is increasing. Right? Last one, since it may not be possible to obtain and execute work in the name of the network, the lead firm will secure the work and distribute tasks among the constituent firms, provided the client has no objection for this arrangement. Next is, whenever appointment letter is taken in the name of lead firm, other firms, though they may contribute in completing the assignment, but may not be able to claim credit of the experience of the task, the situation can be met by entering to agreement listing out the respective tasks. SQC, as I said, applicable, EOP, IT, GST, PAN registration, balance sheet, etc. We have already seen it is same for all the all the three things. So I think more or less we have completed today's presentation. I will end this lecture, this talk, with a small story, just trying to see how networking can help by using the strengths of each individual firms. So I'll go this is one of my favorite story, which generally I take up in this sort of sessions, and this is the story of hare and tortoise. So once upon a time, tortoise and hare had an argument about who was faster, and they decided to settle the argument with the race, and they agreed on a route and started off the race. As all of us know this story very well, hare did not run fast, he did not run consistently, he slept in between. Tortoise gradually, going, and he tortoise won the race. All of us know this story, right? And we know the moral of the story also. Slow and steady wins the race. But story does not end here. Now what happened is, who lost the race? Hare. So hare thought, very disappointed on losing this race. He said, let me do some root cause analysis, RCA. He realized that he lost because he did not, he was overconfident, he was careless, he was lax, he did not run fast, he did not run consistently. So he found out in his root cause analysis why he lost. And therefore, he challenged the tortoise. Can we have one more race? And tortoise says, why not? We can have one more race. And naturally, this time, hare, he was not overconfident. He was confident. He was not careless. He was very careful. He ran fast. He ran consistently. And naturally, when all these things came together, who won the race? Hare won the race. And therefore, now the moral of the story is fast and consistent will always beat slow and steady. So our old, moral, what we said that slow and steady wins the race, is now history. Now the story says fast and consistent will always beat slow and steady. Again, story does not end. Now, who lost the race? Tortoise. So now it was tortoise's turn to do the root cause analysis. So tortoise did some thinking of this root cause analysis, realized that there was no way he can beat the hare in the race the way it was currently done. So he just thought something, and then he said to hare, why don't we run this race again? So hare said, no problem, we can run this race again. And they started running the race. When they were starting the race, tortoise said, the destination this time would not be A, but destination would be B. Hare said, no problem, we'll go to destination B. And they started running the race towards destination B. Now, when they were going towards destination B, hare naturally ran fast, and suddenly saw there is a river in between for going to destination B. Now, hare was not knowing swimming, so he just sat at the bank of the river, thinking what to do. Tortoise gradually came. He was knowing swimming. He went inside the river. He swam across the river, went on the other side of the river where there was destination B, and he reached destination B. Now, who won the race? Tortoise. So now the moral of the story is, first identify your core competencies and change the playing field to suit your core competency. Right? Again, it is good to be individually brilliant and to have core competencies. But unless you are able to work in team and harness each other's core competencies, you will always perform below par, because there will always be situations at which you will do poorly and someone else will do well. There are more lessons to be learned from these stories. Note that neither the hare nor the tortoise gave up after the failures. The hare decided to work harder and put more efforts after his failures. The tortoise changed his strategies because he was already working as hard as he could. In life, when faced with failure, sometimes sorry, it is appropriate to work harder and put more efforts. Sometimes it is appropriate to change strategy and try something different, and sometimes it is appropriate to do the both. The hare and tortoise also learned another vital lesson. When we stop competing against the rival and instead start competing against the situation, we perform far better. To sum up, the story of hare and tortoise teaches us many things. Chief amongst them are fast and consistent will always beat slow and steady. Work to your core competencies. Pooling resources and working as a team will always beat individual performers. Never give up when faced with failure. And finally, compete against the situation and not against the rivals. If there are any questions, we can surely take up. Otherwise, thank you so much for giving me an opportunity to have this, sharing of thoughts, learning from me also. Thanks to the WRC, the office bearers, Rudesh, and all of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Atul Bheda sir. If there is any question, if anyone want to ask any question, sir is there. But because there is no question, I believe in question answer chat. One question came: when will ICI provide model deed?
So they are working on that, and I think very shortly it will be happening. So that should not be a big problem. All the guidance have been given. So in the last few slides, we have seen, what are the points that could be there. So it is model deed would only be recommendatory. It will not be mandatory. So what would be there in the recommendatory points? The points have already been decided, given. So let us not wait for spoon feeding, because this is where probably we should try and do our own research. The broad guidelines are being given. What are the points that could be of that model deed? We can go ahead with that.
Okay, thank you, sir. I think there is no any question. One more question came. Can firm go stepwise?
So what I understand, Paras, from your question is that your first is alliance, then it is network, then it is lead network. Yes, you can go stepwise also. Absolutely no problem. You have a final destination in your mind, that is mergers, which our next learned speakers will give you a lot of insight on that. That should be your final goal. These are all transitory things, and you can always go stepwise. You should go, stepwise. The next question which I see is, will ICI provide any platform to meet the interested firms to go for the networking? We can surely, recommend this. I'll take up this with the ICI. And one thing which ICI is, in one of my slides, I made that at least they will give you the data of the firms that you are interested to, have this. But as far as meeting is concerned, it may be difficult, but yes, let us see how we can, have it through online. So Nehal, she wants the slides. Yes, surely I'll give you, Nehal, not a problem.
Okay, because yeah, your slides are more elaborated way, and the story part I like very much.
So that is Pinky. This story is, 20 years I've been telling this story and trying to tell people that, all of you are experts. Just bring your expertise together and then see how the things happen. But very unfortunately, I put the data right from 2006 to 2020. I don't see that happening. If more than 10 partners, just 300. Amit sir is there. He knows, what is the thing. He's been also trying very hard. But ठीक है, होगा कभी ना कभी होगा. Let us be hopeful. Thank you, thank you, Pinky.
Yeah, be positive, be hopeful. और अभी पहले से I think in last 10 years more changes have been come into the picture, and हम लोग ने जब CA किया था उसमें उसके बाद 10 साल तक कोई changes नहीं आए थे, but last 10 years में इतनी ज़्यादा changes हुए हैं सारे act में, सारे law में, so hopefully things will come better.
So necessity is mother of, all whatever inventions you are doing. So today, now it has become necessary. As you rightly said, the changes in each and every law are such a huge changes that now one person cannot do justice.
Yeah, that's true. One last question is there. How many networks registered under new guideline? Any idea?
Currently, I don't think there are any numbers. Frankly speaking, I don't have the numbers, but to my knowledge, not a very great numbers.
Okay. Yeah. So, yeah, now there is no question for you.
Okay, thank you so much.
Atulji, thank you to guide us how networking can be benefited for a CA firm and what the guideline for networking and how it works. So thank you to enlighten us on this subject because it's a requirement of the present situation. We can't, as you say that all the act and the guidelines, regulations have been changed drastically. So one person cannot judge, cannot do the justice with the subject. So we should network with other firms to do better job and better service we can provide up because of networking also. So thank you, Atulji, for your guidance. So and we will again we will call you after some month or after some day, and definitely I will call you in our study circle also.
Anytime. Thank you.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, sir. So now our second speaker is there, CA Ameet Patel ji. CA Ameet Patel ji is a graduate in commerce and a chartered accountant from 1986 with a rank at the All India level. He has spent all the large part of his professional career in taxation matter. He is with FPI, banks, mutual fund, AIF and NRI. He has advised very large mutual funds also. His core practice consists of tax planning, appeal, representation, and IT related issues. He has also been advised several foreign companies who have set up subsidiaries in India. He began his career as a proprietorship firm and then merged his practice into Kanu Doshi and Associates. After that, he joined Sudhit K. Parikh and Company, but now he's currently working as a Mumbai-based partner in a Manohar Chaudhary and Associates. He is a member of Finance and Taxation Panel of CII Maharashtra region. He is a past president of the BCA Society. He is an independent director of LIC Housing Finance Limited and SBM Bank India Limited. He has been actively involved with the activity of ICI and with BCA also. He has been a regular speaker at various seminar conferences with the ICI, BCA, LCS, SOCM, CII, and also with the Kotak Mahindra Bank, Income Tax Department, Rotary Club, and many others. He is co-author for the publication of BCA also, like Calculator to Computer, Shares and Securities, TDS, FAQ and ETDS, reporting under the new format in Form 3CD, etc. His article has approved in various magazines and websites such as Money Outlook, Money Life, CNBC Money Control, Tax Sutra, etc. He has also been appeared on several programs on national television, and his views are regularly quoted in newspaper and website. And I think sir is very active on social and professional media network also. And with this brief introduction, I welcome you, sir, on behalf of WIRC. I welcome you on today's webinar and request all to welcome you. Thank you, sir. Now you can start your.
Thank you, Priti. And it's a pleasure to be here amongst the BCS ICI audience. I would like to share my screen with you. Just give me a moment. Okay, is it visible? Yes. So the topic allotted to me is a sequel to what Atul Bheda, my friend, was talking about. Atul spoke about the networking guidelines as promulgated by the ICAI, and that was the theory part. Of course, he ended with a story of the tortoise and the hare, and gave some motivation to members to take forward the theory into practice. I would be dealing more with the practical aspects and not necessarily relating to the networking guidelines which Atul has specifically spoken about. but more on the practical aspects of the next step after the theory that we have all heard about. Atul spoke about the tortoise and the hare story, but he, left it at the end. The last stage of the story, he has kept it for probably his next speech. So I will leak it out. There is a sequel which is still remaining to the story that Atul spoke about. He mentioned about the last part where the tortoise comes to the river bank and then crosses the river because he can swim and the rabbit or the hare can't swim. The next part is that the tortoise reaches the river bank and sees the hare waiting over there, unable to do anything because the hare can't swim. So instead of swimming alone and crossing the river and winning the race, the tortoise tells the hare that you hop onto my back. And as you all know, tortoise has a very strong back. And so the rabbit or the hare jumps onto the tortoise. The tortoise swims across with the hare on top, and both of them cross the river, and both of them reach the goal post simultaneously. And the moral of that story is that if you get together, both of you can win. And I think this is where I would like to begin my talk. That so far, the members of our profession have been competing with each other. We all feel that we need to get past the other member, then only we will win. But I think it's high time we realize that today the society, today the economy, today our clients, they all do not look at favorably the competition amongst our members, but they are seeking cooperation and collaboration amongst our members. And therefore, the theme of my talk today would be cooperation and collaboration rather than competition. The photo that you see on your screen is a fruit basket with multiple types of fruits in the basket. And that has been placed by me in this presentation to ask a question that can an assortment of people, can different types of people, and by people I mean obviously the members of our profession, chartered accountants, can different kinds of chartered accountants succeed in creating a robust firm? We've all heard, that too many cooks spoil the broth. But the question that arises in the context of our discussion today is, can more than one cook improve the quality of the cooking? So with this, let me talk about the past first. What kind of networking has happened in the past? A few examples. First, we had the official network, which Atul Bheda spoke about. And we also had loose type of associations. The official network within the guidelines of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, I think was very disappointing, was a failure according to me, because primarily these networks were formed with the main objective of getting bank audits or PSU audits, and several firms came together under the networking guideline, but there was no common agenda, no common vision, there were no common goals which were laid down, and such firms got together only on paper to fulfill the networking guidelines and get more bank audits or PSU audits. Many times there were even malpractices like sleeping partners being brought in, false addresses being given, etc. Unfortunately, these kind of practices have obviously failed, but even worse, have given a very bad name to our profession. On the other hand, we also had loose associations where firms from different locations got together, formed a loose and informal association. Nothing went to the institute for approval because this was not a formal association. There was no formal MOU. On a case-to-case basis, there was referral of work. And these kind of associations were mainly driven by the fact that one firm did not have a presence in another geographical location, or where a firm did not have a particular practice area, and therefore wanted help from another firm which was specializing in that practice area. And in the past, we have seen that several such examples of loose associations have ultimately moved on to the next level and created robust partnership firms or merged partnership firms. So the question which would obviously be asked or which would come up in your mind is, can such loose associations survive? Let's look at for finding out the answer to this question. Let us look at what is the scenario today. And I'm sure that many of you who are from smaller firms, from mid-sized firms would empathize with these scenarios. First of all, massive shortage of manpower. There are A, very new entrants wanting to join practice. B, those few people who want to join practice, they are being offered massive packages by the larger firms, by this, and there is competition for us, not from the large firms, but also from startups, because startups have huge amounts of funding and they are happy to burn that money on salary costs by offering ridiculously high packages. So that is a problem. Second is, even if you're able to get someone in your firm, the massive challenge of retaining the talent is unbelievable. This is driven by the fact that the younger generation has got very, very little patience, and there is an increased need to get promotions and increments quickly. Then there is a drastic reduction in organizational loyalty, and because of which we are seeing that there is frequent job hopping happening. So these two, the massive shortage of manpower and the difficulty in retaining the talent, are leading to spiraling costs, and added to the cost of staff costs, there is the real estate costs in the larger cities, and this mismatch in increased costs and the stagnancy in the fees that we are seeing. And the stagnancy in fees is because of the perceived absence of value addition by CA firms. This is the scenario which is being faced by most firms. Then we also have external factors such as extremely demanding regulators, huge compliance burden which is cast on these smaller firms with multiple due dates which are there almost every month under different laws of the country, exponential increase in the risks in assurance practice as well as in tax compliances. Because all of us who would obviously know the risks in the assurance practice, the audit practice, but tax compliances also have become very risky because the penalties for non-compliance, penalties for mistakes in tax compliances are huge now, and chartered accountants would be facing the music if they make such mistakes in the tax compliances, because clients will blame the chartered accountants. As a result of this, what we are seeing is that compliance-based practices are facing severe competition, say for example, from websites, from tech firms, etc. Whereas consulting opportunities have blossomed in a disrupted world. The regulators have gone into overdrive to create safety for the various stakeholders. And as a result, the monopolies which our profession enjoyed for several decades are going away. Our institute itself is losing ground in the context of self-governance and professional standing qua the regulators. Various other steps taken by the government, such as raising tax audit limits, eliminating GST audits, increasing the thresholds in presumptive taxation, which in turn leads to doing away with the tax audits, etc. All these are leading to loss of business for the small and medium practitioners. And the monopolies, as I said, which we enjoyed earlier, are being toppled, which is impacting the practice of SMTs. And coupled with all these is the issue of huge management expectations. The board of directors, in particular the independent directors, are demanding much more, and ability to meet the management's expectations is a huge challenge for all of us. Then the the power shift from a non-technology based generation to the tech savvy generation is tremendous. The generation that operated through dictations of letters, through files, through paperwork, through administrative red tape, personal meetings, and several such ways of the old generation. That generation is finding it very difficult to even type own emails, leave aside draft opinions or edit reports. The generational shift of power and leadership has got accelerated in the last 2-3 years, particularly because of the COVID. And as a result, the pain, most of us are caught in the middle. The pain of being medium size has surfaced. Either some firms are too large to be nimble, or you are too small to make serious investments in technology and people. And the consolidation and restructuring of our firm is therefore no longer a discussion topic, but it has become a dire need of the day. Lifestyle changes due to COVID. COVID has changed the way we live, eat, sleep, work, behave, travel, think, and whatnot. With more and more youngsters wanting to work from home, CA firms will need to change their style of functioning. And therefore, there is a clear need for change in mindset of chartered accountants. Larger firms are finding it easier to survive and thrive. And therefore, in this background, how will all of us cope with this new normal? Would we go for an alliance or a network or a lead firm? All these three topics I picked up from Atul Bheda's presentation, and which is where the institute is wanting the members to head towards. So would we go in for either of these three, or some of these three, or a merger? There was one question asked: should we go in steps? Answer, obviously, as Atul rightly mentioned, is yes. You need to go step by step. Because you obviously, when you are climbing into a building, you suddenly straight away don't go on to the 20th floor. You go from ground floor to first to second, and then you finally reach the 20th floor. So my view is that same as Atul, that you need to go in steps. Now, whether you go from an alliance to a merger, or from a network to a merger, or from a lead firm kind of situation to a merger, that would depend on you. It depends on your choice. One person asked that will ICAI provide the data if we want to network? I would feel personally, in my humble opinion, that would be the worst way of going about in the context of merger, or in the context of expansion. If we expect institute to provide you data, then it means that you are waiting for someone to feed you data, and you don't want to do the hard work of finding out who is the right match for you. Now, it is like, in the context of matrimony, you depend on bharatmatrimony.com to give you data, instead of doing the hard work of finding out who is the real match for you for your lifetime. And therefore, I would feel that the work needs to be done by you, by me, by every one of us in this particular audience, if we are very serious about meeting the challenges, all the challenges that I've mentioned earlier. So let's look at some of the requisites of a strong and long-lasting merger or network. Because a lot of people have asked us over the years, particularly at the BCS program, where we have focused on networking, on mergers, on practice management, etc. That how does one build a strong and long-lasting merged firm or a network? First and most important, according to me, is a mission and vision statement. It is critical that the firms which are coming together, whether in alliance, whether in network, or whether in lead firm, or whether by way of a merger, in all these situations, first thing that you need is a common vision and mission statement, a common minimum program. The perspective of different firms could be different, and therefore it is critical that there is a congruence of goals between the different people coming together. And this is the starting point where the difficulties start. But these need to be crossed first before you take the subsequent steps. Organizational philosophy and goal. What is your underlying philosophy of the merged firm that you are talking about? What are your goals? What are your aspirations? What is your growth strategy? Is there a growth strategy, first of all? And if yes, what is it? All these need to be clearly captured in an MOU, if not in the reconstituted partnership. Then who is the boss? In any team, there has got to be only one captain or one leader. If there are multiple captains or multiple leaders, we see how that Agadi works. Ultimately, it breaks down. And therefore, the issue of deciding who heads the firm could run into a stumbling block because of clashing egos. But the bottom line is that if you want a successful merged firm or a merged network or an alliance or a lead firm kind of get together, the most deserving person must be selected as the managing partner. And the other people in the network, in the alliance, in the lead firm kind of gathering will need to accept the change in the decision-making authority. Because what happens is that up till now, all of us have been leading our own firms, small firms, proprietary firms, or 2 or 3 partner firms, and we have had the leadership within us, and we are taking all the decisions. But that perceived loss of decision-making authority has to be accepted by us, and only then can we, then we would be able to reconcile to the fact that we are now not the old 2 or 3 partner firm or an old proprietary concern, but we are now a larger firm where it is possible that a 60-year-old partner who is coming in may need to leave his ego aside and reconcile to the fact that a 30-year-old or a 40-year-old partner, a younger partner, lesser experienced partner, maybe the person who will be leading the firm. And if the ego of that 60-year-old comes into the way, then there is going to be problems that will be faced by the firm. The other thing requisite of a strong and long-lasting firm would be the sharing of fees, profit sharing, control on expenses, whereby we have seen in the past that money has always been the root cause of most breakups. So how to share the fees amongst the different firms of a network? Of course, this is more relevant for a network where you have not yet merged. So when there is a referral, when there is a common common action being taken by few firms who have got together in a network, how do you share that? How do you share the fees by which one firm earns by way of work referred by another firm, etc. And in the context of a merged firm, the same issue would arise that if, as a partner, I bring in some work, am I entitled to some share of that fee, even though the work is being executed by another partner or another team of partners? So these are all issues that need to be thrashed out on a rational and logical basis and documented in the partnership form. How to share the partners amongst the partners is a major issue. How to determine the profit sharing ratios. Should it be vertical based? Should it be location based? Or should it be just a firm based? Do you want to do away with the competition between the partners, and so no location based profit sharing, etc. These are issues that come up and which need to be thrashed out. Control on the expenses. Prior to a merger, it is possible that various types of expenses have been incurred by different constituents, including certain expenses relating to partners. Post-merger, there will have to be a control on these expenses so that each assignment results in the highest surplus for the merged firm. And then the very important issue of valuing or giving credit to the various functional areas, the non-execution areas like accounts, finance, HR, IT, admin, etc. Now, in a normal homegrown traditional CA practicing firm, practicing CA firm, generally these functions are always, on at the back end, very little value is attributed to these functions. And as a result, the partner who is handling these matters generally feels that he is spending so much time for all these matters and he is not being compensated adequately for these matters. And therefore, it is inevitable that if you are having the aspiration of growing into a large firm, you will need to give some value to all these functions, even though they don't contribute to the to the profit center. These are generally cost centers, and you need to give some value to the person or the partner or the team of partners who is looking after all these functions. Otherwise, that partner is going to be very, very disheartened and dissatisfied, and that's where the breakup of the partnership would begin. Then partner and staff loyalty. In a network or a merged firm, the partners need to be loyal to the firm or to the network and have a long-term outlook. Frequent change of partners would cause loss of client confidence. I mean, this goes without saying. All of us would be facing this in our, our firm as well. And this gets heightened, this gets highlighted in case of a larger firm. If partners themselves do not show their loyalty to the firm, then obviously the staff will certainly not show loyalty. Then the question of job security. So when we expect a person to be loyal to the firm, we need to provide that job security to that partner, to that person, whether partner or whether to a staff member. So loyalty to the firm will depend on the perceived job security. As the network or the firm grows, there could be insecurity amongst the partner as to the duration as partner, because a partner may feel that 10 more partners have been brought in, all 10 are doing, tax partners. I am also an old tax partner. Probably the firm or the managing partner feels that my importance is lesser now, and therefore, they have brought in 10 partners, and that is where the insecurity starts. So it is incumbent upon the firm as a whole, and in particular the leader of the firm, to ensure that the message that goes out to the people, whether it is a partner or to the staff, is very, very clear as far as the job security is concerned. Then something which 99% of the Indian CA firms have not even considered fit to even think about is retirement and succession planning. Generally, there is no retirement age in family firms and small firms. People go on practicing 60, 70, 80. We have seen people even in the 90s continuing to practice. In case of small firms, in case of proprietary firms, obviously it has worked in the past. It may continue to work for a few more years. But as things evolve, clearly this will not be the case in most firms. If a firm has to grow, it is critical that senior partners make way for younger ones. And I'm not saying that you need to retire from the firm, but you clearly need to let the younger partners take the leadership role, and you need to step back and take the role of a mentor or a guide. So clearly laid down retirement and succession rules would go a long way in making that firm, successful. Then the rules for induction of family members or partners is a very, very sensitive issue. Often, on social media, people criticize politicians on the ground of nepotism, that so-and-so is the, leader of the party, and his or her son or daughter or other family members, son-in-law or daughter-in-law, etc., all are being inducted into the party. But have we ever sit and thought that are we doing the same in our own profession? Chartered accountant starting a firm, then expecting his son or daughter to join the firm, and then the grandson and the granddaughter, etc., or the son-in-law, the daughter-in-law, as the case may be, all. It is human nature that we want to bring in our family members into the firm. But in the context of a professional firm, the issue of inducting family members definitely needs careful attention, careful, well laid down rules, well laid down formula, that if at all a family member of an existing partner is to be made a partner, does that person have an advantage over others just because of the relationship? Or does that person also need to work as hard as anyone else in order to be considered for partnership? So these are things that need to be clearly laid down if you want a strong and successful partnership. Then the issue of immovable properties. Most old firms would have an office premises belonging to the firm. The new age firms clearly stay away from this because immovable property becomes one of the biggest reasons for disputes between the firms, especially at the time of retirement. So when a firm is small, the issue of owning an immovable property in the name of firm, it does not throw up major concern. But with growth in the number of partners, growth in the number of locations of the firm, as the number of locations increase, the need for offices will increase. As the number of offices increase, especially in high-cost cities like Mumbai or Bangalore or any other large city, owning immovable properties in the firm's name will raise a large number of disputes. So how to deal with the existing premises of the firms coming together and what to do in future when a new office is required. These are issues that need to be thrashed out when you come together with other chartered accountants. Then the name of the merged firm. Now, whether it's a network, whether it is an alliance, whether it is a lead firm or a merged firm, in all these cases, the contentious issue that comes up is what should be the name. There is a huge love amongst most human beings for their own name. And that love for one's own name is the biggest hindrance, according to me, for the profession to grow into for the profession to have larger firms. Because that is where people think 10 times before merging with another one. They don't want to lose their name. XYZ and company and ABC and company coming together, both partners would want each other's name to remain and the other firms' name to be removed. Now, this is a problem. Frankly speaking, in my mind, this is the most ridiculous reason for mergers failing. The way we are looking at how people are, going to CA firms, how people are selecting auditors, I think the name really doesn't matter. It is the experience, it is the quality of people that matters, and it therefore, even if you look at all the big four and the next big four, all the names have got nothing to do with the current partners. Not a single of these large 8-10 firms would have the current partner's name, surname, etc. in the name of the firm. Have the founder partners, suffered because of this? Certainly not. It is obvious that the partners of all the larger firms, the big four, the big 8, the big 10, all of them would be financially far, far more successful than any other partner in any other firm. So therefore, the name of the merged firm, I think I would strongly advise the members in this particular webinar, should not come in the way. You need to drop this love for your own name and forget about that. It is inconsequential. Another very petty, what could be appearing to be petty, is a list of holidays, office timings. All these need to be standardized when you merge with another firm. This could be complicated, particularly when holidays of a particular religion only are being given in your firm, and then suddenly you need to give holidays which are there for other religions or other communities, etc. I'm just giving very simplistic example, but there will be a number of issues in this, and these need to be taken care of. The pay scales would be different between the different firms coming together. Integrating these into a commonly acceptable uniform scale across all the member firms is time consuming. It will not happen overnight. It will not happen in the first year. It may not happen in the second year, but gradually over a few years, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, these can be standardized. Don't worry if you're not able to standardize it immediately, because it is not possible to do that. Then usage of technology. There are different firms all over India having different kinds of technologies being used. Some are very basic, some are extremely advanced, and therefore the standardization or unit or bringing in uniformity amongst all the firms on the technology being used is another costly and time-consuming exercise. Then uniform stationery, office infrastructure, bringing in uniformity in the format of different items of stationery as well as in the office design and layout is another important factor that needs to be looked into while integrating. If you look at all the big four, if you look at the next big four, the top firms all over the world have very, very clear guidelines, which are very, very strictly adhered to across the globe as far as the use of design, use of stationery, use of even the fonts, the color of the font, the size of the font, even in the nameplates, the size of the nameplate, size of the font in the nameplate, etc. All these are standardized, and these are very, very harshly implemented across offices. Even in terms of the layout of the offices, a lot of firms have very clearly laid down guidelines as to how every office should be designed, how the what kind of what kind of statements to be brought out on the glass, which are glass panels which are there in the office premises, etc. All these are things which normal or CA firms have neglected all these years, but this is going to become the order of the day. So if you want to go forward in terms of merge, in terms of network, etc., what would one do? Very simplistic. Again, this is not an exhaustive list, just a very simple start of exercise. First, do a SWOT analysis. What is your strength, your weakness? What are the opportunities that are available in the totally disrupted world that we are living in? What are the threats? Based on that, list down the people with whom you are already comfortable, in terms of working, and reach out to them. So this is where I differ with the person who had asked the query about when will ICAI give us the data. I think it is not the data which somebody else that gives you, which will help you in deciding whom you would like to reach out to. You need to reach out to people whom you are already familiar with, your friends, your relatives, or any other person with whom you have worked or attend. Or for example, there are so many people who attend the programs of the institute or the other professional bodies again and again, and they meet so many other people who are also attending these programs regularly. You develop a friendship, professional friendship, based on those kind of attendances at the various seminars, etc. And you realize that that person has got a similar mindset as me, and you reach out to that person. So do that, then start collaborating with like-minded professionals by sharing work. I think unless you take that first step, you break the ice by sharing the work without being scared that that person will take away that client. I think that worry that if I share my client with somebody else, that person will take away the client, that fear arises because we always considered each other as competitors, which is where I began this talk. We need to drop that mindset, look at each other as collaborators, share the clients, share the identity of the client, tell the client that till now I've been doing your audit. You also have GST work. I'm not very conversant with GST, but I'm working with an associate firm, so and so. They are very good in GST. And why don't you explore that firm for your GST work? That's how the sharing happens. And then work more on that, working closely with the other firm. And then start thinking in terms of a merger. Now, merger, I'm using the term merger, but it could also be in the context of a network or an alliance or a lead firm scenario. In the past, based on my experience, some of the models that have succeeded in the very well is where a few firms, small firms, similar size firms have sort of worked together for a few years. There was long courtship. 5 years, 6 years, etc., referring work to each other wherever the other person has the strength, and then merge. These kind of mergers have really succeeded. Without taking names, in Bombay, there is a firm where, 3 firms got together first, based on fantastic friendship developed through Bombay Chartered Accountant Society, and then they have grown exponentially. Now multiple partners have been inducted into the firm, whether by way of merger of smaller firms, or by way of taking a promotion of existing people, or by taking over the proprietary people, a proprietary concern into that firm. Then there are mergers of proprietary firms into an existing mid-sized firm, which I mentioned by giving an example of the Bombay-based firm. This could very well apply to any part of the country where there is already a mid-sized firm which is looking for expansion, and where one person firm or one proprietary firms could merge into that firm. And then informal networks of like-minded people having offices in different locations. These are what I mentioned earlier, loose associations. So you don't have an office, say, in Pune or in Nashik or in Aurangabad. I have office only in Mumbai. Somebody who is located in Nashik or a Pune or any other place wants to collaborate with me, I will join hands with that person. Or different practice areas. I gave that example. I'm doing only audit, somebody else is doing GST. Let's work together. So these are the different models that have worked in the past, and possible reasons for success of some of these experiments could be that the minds of the people who came together have met. So there is meeting of minds. The egos and the obsession with one's own name has been left aside. Complete trust. So without trust, nothing works. So complete trust in each other. Undisputed honesty and integrity of the leader. So unless the leader is seen to be honest and of integrity, the partners will not have that faith in the leadership. And without faith in the leadership, the firm cannot succeed. Then, very importantly, obviously, fairness in the profit sharing ratios. So unless everyone who comes together in a common firm, unless everyone feels that I am getting what is due to me, I am getting what is my fair share of the profit, the firm will not succeed. So there has got to be deep thought going into how to share the profit. What should be the profit sharing ratios? And it is here that the magnanimous nature of the leader has to play a very, very important role. For example, in the earlier slide, I talked about the existing mid-sized firm taking other proprietors into itself. Now it is possible that a mid-sized firm was founded by someone and his or her profit sharing ratio is, say, 60%, and the other existing partners are having 40%. Now, when new people join into the firm, that leader who is having 60% profit sharing ratio has to show that kind of faith in the others, has to show the capacity of investing in the other partners, and reduce his or her own share from 60 to a lower ratio, and sacrifice that percentage for the others who are coming into the firm. And then ruthless implementation of the common minimum program. There can be no compromise on this. It has to be implemented. If you start making exceptions to the rule, then you start diluting the whole reason for which you have come together. Then the patient integration of various practice management policies. I think practice management is a totally different topic in itself. Atul Bheda has given lots of lectures on practice management, and the better you are at practice management, the higher the chances of your firm succeeding. And therefore, one needs to be very patient. One has to invest time, efforts, and money in the practice management policies, and patiently integrate them amongst all the people who are coming together. Pursuit of growth. Unless you have growth in the firm, you cannot expand, because growth will bring in more revenues will bring in higher profits will bring in more funds, which you can use for investing in expansion. and investing in infrastructure. Then specialization by partners leading to excellence and recognition in the marketplace. This is exactly what happened in that Bombay-based firm which I spoke about. The partners started, leaving the other practice area to the other partners and focusing on what each one was very good at. As a result, they had more time to devote for their own practice areas, leading to excellence. And as they started excelling, they started getting recognition in the marketplace. And today they are, they've gone from one laurel to another laurel. Due recognition given, this I've already mentioned, that in any successful firm, if you look at, there is adequate reward given to a partner who is handling HR, to a partner who is handling admin, to a partner who is handling IT, etc., etc. And therefore, friends, I would like to end by saying that growth will come to firms who are willing to disrupt themselves continuously, rethink, reimagining, reinventing, disrupting, and starting all over again. The times that we are living in are so volatile that unless we are willing to disrupt completely, continuously, we will not be able to achieve the growth that will lead us to have satisfaction that we are doing something that we are happy about. If we don't do this, we will continue to grumble about deadlines. We will continue to grumble about the income tax portal not working. We'll continue to grumble about the GST law being complicated. We'll continue to find faults with Infosys and with the government and with the finance ministry. But if we look within and try and improve ourselves, try and meet the challenges of the disruptive world that we are living in, I think we would be definitely far more happier, far more successful. Thank you so much. My email ID is given here. My social media handle is also given here. I would be happy to take any questions, if any, that any one of you may have.
Hello. Mishra ji, I don't find any questions right now in the question answer tab. If you find it, please share it.
There is no question, I think, right now. If anyone want to ask any question, please post yourself.
So Atul, then in that case, I have given you the last slide for your next session about the story of the hare and the tortoise. Thank you very much. You're on mute, Atul.
Yeah, so thank you, Amit, for taking up excellently where I left and trying to complete it the way generally people wanted to do it. But somewhere everybody wants to do it in his way. And what you very relevant you said is that you have to consider each and every person, and you have to see how all of you come together and respect each other, which is not happening. So maybe I think what we have to do is keep on trying and convincing people. Someday at least people will understand what is has to be done. But great session.
I agree, Atul. I agree. Respect, of course, is there. Trust, which I spoke about. I think, and the another important thing is that we are very reluctant to take the first plunge. Everyone is very scared. It is similar to going for the first and then standing over there, getting scared to jump in. Unless you jump in, you will not know whether the water is cold, whether the pool is deep, whether you will sink or whether you will come up. So the time that what I'm trying to emphasize upon to our members is that the time to sit and think and be scared is gone. We no longer have that luxury. We have to take the plunge, and what happens? Worst comes to worst, it will not work. You go back to your old ways with the help of the facility that the institute is giving you in terms of demerger of the network. Yes. But at least try. If you don't try, as that famous dialogue in that series, the scam, Harshad Mehta's scam on one of the platforms, that risk hai to ishq hai, I think without taking that risk, the chances of survival, forget chances of thriving, chances of survival, according to me, are remote. That's it.
Sir, when we chosen commerce ना, business जब सबसे first class में हमें यही बताया जाता था कि risk taking का मतलब ही business है. अभी ये profession में भी वही हो गया है. We have to take risk, then only we can do the profession.
Absolutely. And the main change for that is that all these 50-60 years, our profession has enjoyed monopoly.
Actually,
and it is very clear, whether it is this government or any other party that comes to power, the days of monopoly are over. And if you do not accept that fact, and you keep on jumping up and down for reservation in audits and expanding the branch audit, bank branch audit, and whatnot, I think that is barking up the wrong alley. You're trying to do something which is not going to work, and that is why the question of profession becoming risky has now come up, as compared to up till now, when people felt that only business is risky.
Yeah, absolutely true, sir.
yes, sir. Sir, now you can.
Yeah, I think we should come to the end of the session. Good evening, everyone. Again, I, CA Sharon Sangvi, on behalf of WIRC of ICAI, would like to thank our special faculties today, CA Amit Patel sir and CA Amit Bheda sir, for guiding us on networking guidelines, which is most sought after topic today in the most recent days. So thank you, sir, for guiding us. Like you have said, what are the prerequisites of long-lasting mergers of the CA members? And also given the gist and background of how much is it important for all the members to come into cooperation to survive in today's scenario. Also the fact that you said, which is very true, that instead of waiting for the ICI database, so members should go upfront and build a strong network and start building a network. So I believe so far as now that all our member audiences would have started thinking in terms of in line of this to start building a network. So thank you so much, sir. And thank you all the members for your patient hearing.
I think just two things. One is, there is somebody has asked whether kindly share the presentations. So I assume the organizers would do that. And Sharon, you mentioned about not waiting and going. I would strongly suggest to all the people who are present in this webinar, the World Congress of Accountants 2022 is being held in Mumbai in a few months. That would be the best platform to go and meet people. And why do we need to think about Indian chartered accountants? Why not try and find a person for a marriage of firms in another country? So that would be the best opportunity. This opportunity will not come again very soon. And I would therefore urge everyone to attend the WC, the World Congress, which is being held at BKC in Mumbai.
This program is from 18th November to 21 November. So everyone, please register yourself. It's a first time it's happening in India. So it's a very pride for this program is very much proud. We are proud to take this program. So please join this.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone. Thank you once again. We hope to meet you future. Thank you.